Want to learn how to use hashtags on LinkedIn to increase the visibility of your posts? If so, you are in the right place, as today we're going to cover all things hashtags and how to use them strategically. For more LinkedIn and online business advice, subscribe to my channel and hit that bell to be notified when I post a new video every single week. Today we're going to talk about LinkedIn hashtags and how you can use them to your advantage to increase the visibility of your posts and consequently get more engagement and following. Make sure you watch this video till the very end, as I'm going to show you exactly how to find the best hashtags for your niche, and we're going to discuss whether or not you should be creating a custom hashtag for your business. Okay, let's get to it. Hashtags are a super powerful way for you to get discovered by the LinkedIn community and reach people that you're not necessarily connected with. If you're using hashtags correctly, you have the potential to reach so many new eyeballs and allow people outside of your network to engage with your posts. But before I show you how hashtags work and how you can use them most effectively, let me just quickly clarify what hashtags are in the first place. In very simple terms, hashtag is a combination of letters, numbers, and sometimes even emojis that follow the hash symbol. Using hashtags allows platforms such as LinkedIn to understand what your content is about and categorize it correctly by grouping it together with all other hashtags, all other posts that are using the same hashtag. Now, let me just give you a real life example so all of this makes a bit more sense. You might have noticed that I share weekly insights about LinkedIn. And whenever I publish a new post on the platform, I typically add hashtags such as LinkedIn tips or LinkedIn training to my post to make it more discoverable. Now, when you add a hashtag to your post, it becomes clickable. And when you do click on it, LinkedIn will take you to the search results for that particular hashtag. And all the content you see over here has been published using that hashtag. So this is not just people in your network, this is everyone in the LinkedIn community who have published anything using this particular hashtag that you're now seeing here. By including hashtags in your posts, you are telling LinkedIn what your content is about, and you're allowing the algorithm to understand it and categorize it together with all other relevant content. Now, where this gets really exciting is that people can follow the hashtags in the areas they care about. In this particular example, if we look at LinkedIn tips, there are over 14,000 people already following the hashtag, which is great news for me personally, as it means that this many people are already interested in the type of content I'm creating. So if we look at a few other examples here, you can see that over 20 million people are following the hashtag marketing. 4 million people are following the hashtag real estate. 50,000 people over here are following the hashtag events. And 28,000 people are following the hashtag B2B marketing, and so on. Now, at this point, you might be wondering whether it's better to use hashtags that have a massive following or small to medium following, and I will absolutely cover this in a minute when I show you how to find the best hashtags for your sector. But just before we dive into that, I wanted to answer the question that I get asked a lot, and that is, if a hashtag has 20 million followers, does that mean when I include it in my post, 20 million people will also see my post? And the answer to this one is yes and no. If you specifically click on a hashtag the way we just did, your post would definitely show up here, because these are basically search results for the particular hashtag, which means they are bringing back every single post that has ever been published using this hashtag. Now, while some people might be diving into hashtags like this, most of us are simply scrolling through our feeds. So if you're following a bunch of hashtags, LinkedIn will include these within your feed, but the algorithm is selective as to what to show, because you can imagine if they showed everything, your feed would just be overwhelmed by the sheer volume of the posts you would get. You might recall that in my recent video on how to get more followers, I mentioned that LinkedIn monitors how much engagement, meaning how many likes, comments, and clicks to read more, your post gets to decide how many people to distribute your content to. And if you're a business owner looking to grow your company page, definitely check that video out later on. But to summarize, if you publish a post and say you have 500 connections, it does not mean that LinkedIn will show your post to all those 500 connections right away. The way LinkedIn algorithm works is that it shows your post to a smaller group of people first, and it monitors how much engagement it gets. So if your post gets enough likes and comments, then your LinkedIn will continue showing it to more and more people. However, if it doesn't, and it's not getting much engagement, LinkedIn just will stop showing it to your connections. So having 500 connections does not mean that you will get 500 people actually seeing your post. The reason why I'm sharing this is because hashtags work in a very similar way. Just because you published a post and you included a hashtag that has 20 million followers does not mean that any of those people will actually see your post. LinkedIn will again be monitoring how much engagement your post is getting in the first place to decide whether or not to show your post to more people following the hashtag. So as you can imagine, the first couple of hours after publishing your content are key for getting as much engagement as possible so that LinkedIn would keep showing your post to more and more people. Let me know in the comments below if you have noticed LinkedIn doing this and how do you feel about the algorithm. So now that we understand how the LinkedIn algorithm works, let's dive into finding the best hashtags for your niche and figuring out whether or not you should be going for hashtags that have a lot of following or a smaller one. Adding hashtags on LinkedIn is all about finding your sweet spot. You want to research what hashtags are currently getting used within your field and also think about what hashtags your target audience might be interested in. Our goal with all of this is to get your posts in front of the people you care about. So we want to be considering what hashtags your target audience might already be following. A very simple way to go about this research and to find other hashtag ideas is to type in your main hashtag within the LinkedIn search box, and you will see that in the dropdown, some other similar hashtag ideas will appear. So if we search for marketing, we get quite a few suggestions through. If we click on the main marketing hashtag, you can see that it has 20 million people following the hashtag. If marketing indeed is your sector, you should absolutely click to follow this hashtag. I wouldn't necessarily recommend adding this hashtag to your own posts, especially if you are a new content creator with not too much authority on a platform, because your post could disappear in the sea of all this other content. But besides that, it's still a really good idea to follow all the big hashtags to see what content people in your industry are sharing, and it also helps you to find different hashtag ideas through looking at their posts. So let's go back to the search and try to narrow our hashtag down. This time I'm going to click on marketing strategy, and this particular hashtag, as you see, has a solid number of followers, almost 68,000, and whilst it's still relatively big, I would be happy now to include it in my own content. So finding the relevant hashtags for your niche takes a bit of research, but it's definitely worth having a good understanding of what are the key hashtags within your field. So if you have followed a few hashtags thus far, but you're lost for further inspiration, what you can do now is go back to your homepage, look at the left-hand side of your profile, and click on the Discover More section located in the lower left-hand side of the page. On this page, you will now see recommendations that are tailored by LinkedIn to you based on your past activity and the hashtags you have followed this far. And this is a great place where you to see a couple of more hashtag ideas that you might have not thought of. Not only will you find hashtag recommendations here, but also people and companies to follow that LinkedIn thinks you might be interested in. The next thing I wanted to show you is how you can manage the hashtags you're following and how to get rid of the ones that you no longer care about. Now, if you go back to your LinkedIn homepage, on the left-hand side, you will already see a few of the hashtags you're following, but to review all of them, simply click on the Follow Hashtags button. On this page, you will see all of the hashtags you are following thus far, and you can unfollow any of them if you choose to. You can also click through to these hashtags to see how many followers each of the hashtags have, and basically see and review the latest content pieces out there just to get inspired and possibly even find hashtags that other people are using that might be relevant to your field. The idea I wanted to touch upon today is having your own custom hashtag. Creating a unique hashtag for your company or your brand can be a great way to build awareness across all social media platforms and allow people to identify who you are easily and to connect with you. If you do create a custom hashtag and add it to all your posts, people will be able to click on it. And when they do so, they will literally see every single post that you have ever shared in one place, almost as one big blog post. So this is another great way of how to show up and be found by other people. If you are planning to create a custom hashtag for your business, let me know what that is in the comments below, as I'd love to see it. We have covered so many great things today, but if you would like some additional help with hashtags, be sure to download my ultimate LinkedIn hashtag guide that includes tips on how to optimize your hashtags, as well as some big LinkedIn hashtag no-nos that you definitely want to be avoiding. I'm going to put a link to this guide in the description below, so just be sure to grab it after this video. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you can see now how LinkedIn hashtags can help you grow. If this content was useful to you, please give this video a like and subscribe to the channel, as it really helps me to get discovered within the YouTube algorithm. If you know anyone else who would benefit from learning more about LinkedIn hashtags, definitely share this video with them, and also check out these videos next of how to take your LinkedIn game to the next level. Thank you for being here, and I will see you again next week.